again, young Star Trek fans. We've got the last build in this series from the technical manual, and today we're going to be taking all of our pieces from earlier builds and adding more to make a Class 1 Dreadnought, which has 3 warp engine nacelles, has a very large saucer section. We're just going to keep using ours. And it's got a very large secondary hull as well. And the interesting thing about this one is you can see on the front you have, I can't see, yeah, you can see it there. You have a shuttle bay and a tractor beam and a couple of navigational deflectors and a big navigational deflector on the back. We're going to be taking care of the secondary hull. It'd be nice to make it cylindrical, but I don't have a cylinder that big. I'm afraid I'm going to have to use a tissue paper box. It's just all there is to it. I thought about using a box from a tube of toothpaste, but it was too small. So anyway, we do have some of our parts. We're cannibalizing from earlier builds. There's the saucer section with the neck. Got 2 of the 3 warp engines made, so we'll make the third one, and that's gonna be the first thing we do. So let's do that right now. And I found the best method for having the ping pong ball in there is to use the tape. I've done that on all 3 now. And then the back of the nacelle is very simple. I'm just going to put some glue in here and then drop a ping pong ball in, and then glue this to the back, and bam, we're almost done. Okay, so now we got the front of the nacelle and the back of the nacelle. Now it's time to put on the chiller fins, and I'll do that in just a second here. Okay, so there we got the 3rd warp engine done, and it's just drying at this point. And I've started to work on the secondary hull, and I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so here I've started to cover the Kleenex box with white paper. You could paint it white too, I suppose. Again, be careful if you ever use spray paints. But this is how I'm going to do it, and I'm just going to continue. This is 1 sheet of paper. I'm going to continue till I've covered the entire thing. Okay, so here I've just covered this Kleenex box in white paper, and that's a good enough secondary hull, I think. It's not the best. I bet you can do better. But what can we do with this? Well, for one thing, part of it, you see here, this indentation, well, that's paper is over that, but underneath that is that hole where you pull the Kleenex out of. So we don't want to put anything down there. That's going to be the bottom of the ship. Anything we stick onto it or cut into has got to be on the top and the sides. Okay, so anyway, well, we've got that done. I think what we're going to do next is maybe attach, yeah, we'll see. Here I am just looking through my Greeblies, trying to find pieces for the front of the well, little Greeblies that'll add something to the ship. Let's put it that way. Let's see what I can do. Okay, well, this may seem goofy, but look here on the front, that's where the shuttle bay is, and I've got a tiny little shuttle bay. And I was thinking I'll just stick it right on the front, just this tiny little shuttle bay on the big ship. I mean, as I've said before on these builds, it's not even to scale with itself, so who cares? Okay, so I've got a couple things I'm going to put on the front here, some Greeblies. This will be fun. Okay, so this is what I did, and look at how tiny they are. But that'll fit as our primary navigational deflector on the front of the ship and our shuttle bay. I mean, hey, at least it's an actual shuttle bay. And, you know, there are a couple other things, little saucers to the side, but I'm not even going to worry about those little dishes. It says it's a navigational deflector and a tractor beam. Okay, whatever. Next, we're going to move on to, oh, well, on the back, right? Let's see. On the back, there's a huge deflector dish. And I think we're going to do that next. Okay, well, the rear deflector dish will have to wait for just a second. I'm building the pylons for the warp engines that go on either side of the secondary hull. So the 2 warp engines on the bottom, basically. And what I'm going to do is I've got about this length. So I don't know, what is that, about probably about 3, that's about 4 inches. And I'm double plying them, so I want it to be really strong. So I'm going to make 2 of these, and I'm going to glue these together, and then we'll have 2 struts. Okay, and so here are the 2 reinforced pylons. So now I've got to cut a hole into these 2 warp nacelles that will give it that angle right there. And if you look at this one, the top view, I mean, you can see just how thick these things are. And they fit in basically right near the end. Kind of like, oh, I don't know, what's that, 2/3 of the way from the front? Something like that. So, yeah, I'm just going to cut a hole in there in the side, and we'll see where it goes from there. Okay, so that's where I cut the hole. Here's the front, here's the back, so, you know, kind of near there. And now I'm going to take this and put it in, and I'll show you how it works. Okay, so as you can see, I put a lot of glue in the slot itself, and then on the pylon, and I stuck it in, and look at that. Look at how good that angle is. I mean, yeah, that's really good. Now I got to figure out how to make the angle of the slot on the nacelle and how to make that fit in. So here comes the next part. Okay, so I cut a slot in there that I hope is at the right angle, and it's dripping, so we'll see if I can get this on to the pylon. Okay, so here's how it's looking. I've attached the pylon to the nacelle, and the nacelle wants to do what nacelles want to do, which is droop. I'm going to do my best to see if I can reinforce it with tape, but gosh, I hope this doesn't end up being like the tug. We'll see. Okay, now I've cut a slot in the the port nacelle, and slathered a lot of glue in there, and there's glue also on the pylon, and it's starting to drip, so I got to go and do this right away. Okay, well, I had to anchor the pylons using tape, but whatever. We're at that point in the build that innovation is what counts. I think I'm finally going to put the no, I think I'm still going to wait to put the deflector dish. Well, yeah, what the heck. Let's put the deflector dish on the rear of this. All right, so here is the aft section. And you can see the 2 nacelles. And this is our secondary hull. And I had this interesting shape. And I think that works really well as that rear deflector. It's supposed to be massive, but that's good enough, huh? All right. So next thing, we're going to be working on the saucer section a bit. Okay, so here's what we've got left of the saucer from the last 2 builds. It's still got the slot for the action figure. It's still got the dome on top. Still got the neck. Still got the impulse engines. And that little thing in the center that you see, that's where the navigational deflector went for the tug and for the destroyer. And what we want to do is we want to put another dome down there. So that's what we're going to do right now. All right, well, it took well to the Elmer's glue, I think. Oh, so I said. Okay, now this is the piece that attaches from the top of the saucer to the top nacelle. And I made it a double thick, and I'm probably actually going to, even before I start, I'm gonna wrap it with tape, because this has a lot that's gonna have to hold. So better to fix it now than later. Okay, so here's the third nacelle, the top nacelle, and I've already cut something in the bottom. And so now I'm gonna put glue in there and put glue on the supporting neck right there, and put them together, and then they'll be ready to go into the saucer. So here we go. Okay, so there we go. We've got the nacelle in with the pylon, and I'm probably going to add some tape here to reinforce the pylon onto the nacelle. Okay, so at this point we've got the secondary hull finished, and I think we're going to put the primary hull in right about here. Yeah, I know the dome just fell off. I'll have to fix that. So right about there. So I'm going to cut right there and glue it in, and most probably tape the heck out of it. Okay, now I've cut a slot in the secondary hull that should accommodate the neck from the primary hull. Here we go. Okay, and look at it on there. I mean, it almost looks like a Constitution class ship, you know, really bulky secondary hull. Lordy be. Yeah, I've done my best to keep the saucer steady, but it just wants to flop to one side or the other. I'll try to fix that, but last thing we have to do, of course, is to put the final nacelle on top. So we'll get to that. All right, so here we go. We've got 3 nacelles. We've got our enormous secondary hull. Yeah, well, we got it done. It sure isn't pretty, but I will do some beauty shots of it here at the end, just so you can look at it. This is one of those where I definitely say, you can do better than I can. I'm sure you can fix these problems I have with the wobbly warp engines. I'm sure that you can find a better way to make a better secondary hull. And gosh, I don't even know if there's room for an action figure, but we'll see with the action shots. So those are coming up. But aside from that, this is Daddy Star Trek signing off. Spock!